Hey, so this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos. I mean, I'm kind of a newer YouTuber, but my videos so far have been pretty produced. And by that, I mean, I put in a lot of effort into displaying cool stuff on the screen, animations, music, sound effects, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of post-production that goes on. And today I wanted to talk about some of the changes that are going on to raid battles. And I also wanted to talk about the new season, which is already live in some time zones. It's 7:18 p.m. here in the US East time zone. So in some of those earliest time zones, Max Out is already live. There's folks in the Ditto-based Discord who have already caught a hundo Raboot, I think they evolved it, and posted a picture, which is awesome. But yeah, some of the comments on videos have alerted me to some changes that are fundamental changes that are happening to raid battles. Those comments being like, hey, the rankings for your top counters or your top DPS of a certain type are no longer correct. And I was like, well, wait, I just took a screenshot of the rankings, but I did some research. It's tough to keep up. It's tough to keep up with all the news that's been dropping. Pokemongo dropped news on us like every day this past week. Teasers and then official announcements and then Phalanx Raid Day and Shiny Zacian, just so much stuff happening. It's tough to keep up. And then there's these unannounced changes to the way damage works in raid battles, to the way the ability timers are working under the hood. They tell us about the PvP changes and the PvP tuning, but then they kind of quietly, silently change raids in a way that changes your teams and how difficult the raids are and everything, and they just don't tell us. And so I just want to look at that and kind of brain dump in more of a free form way. I will do a little bit of editing after I record this, just so you're kind of looking at the same thing that I have up in my browser tab. But this video is going to be, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different. I am not going to, trim it down and make sure I have the perfect take. I'm not going to try and consolidate it to make it, as short as possible, to convey the information as efficiently as possible. It's going to be more of just me thinking out loud, maybe a little bit of a brain dump kind of video. But before we get into it, I just want to say a huge thank you. This week, this month really has been incredible. There's been so much support. We recently hit 1,000 subs here on YouTube, which is one of the milestones for getting monetized. We still need more watch hours, but I think that will come. We keep making videos and the watch hours will come. We also recently hit 1K followers on Instagram. That actually happened earlier today, which is just so exciting. We are well on our way to 1K on TikTok, which is a big milestone over there because you need 1K followers in order to live stream on TikTok, which is something I do want to do at some point. I will have to pay for restream.io or something like that to multi-stream to more than 2 places for live streaming. Right now we're just doing Twitch and YouTube, which is free, but if I want to add a third or a fourth, it costs. I think there's a monthly fee. I would like to add Instagram and TikTok to my live stream destinations at some point. Also, the Discord. We're getting so many new members, and it's awesome to see the community grow. There are remote raids happening without me, which is great. People are organizing groups and getting these raids done without me, without the other mods, and that's just so cool to see. For context, for some of you out there, we've been a pretty small Discord, like 150 members for a long time. Small growth. A member here, a member there from a live stream or something, but recently things have just been taking off exponentially, and it's overwhelming, but it's overwhelming in a good way. Okay, so let's look at some of the changes. Let's start with the raid changes before we look at what's coming in Max Out, and specifically Dynamax battles. Earlier today, there was a bunch of information revealed about how Dynamax battles are going to work. A Niantic did an interview with some Japanese media outlets, which we'll look at, and it kind of revealed a bunch of information. There's some images to look at. We'll pull up Leak Duck, we'll pull up Cerebi, and we'll kind of look at what people know. Remember, Dynamax is not coming this week. So those folks who are, in the future, who are already catching the Galar starters and stuff, they don't have Dynamax yet. Just hit the mic. That's not coming until the 10th, Tuesday the 10th. So let's start with some of the changes to raid battles. All right, so the thing that kind of made this click for me was this Reddit thread from 3 days ago from Flyfunner. Analysis. Everything you thought you knew about raid mechanics is now obsolete. And so if you read through this thread here, there's a couple interesting things, but the thing that stands out to me the most is the change number 5. Raid battles now seem to operate at a 0.5 second cycle. So that means that a move like, let's say, Lock On, which is operating currently or on the Shared Sky season, was operating on a 0.3 second cycle, meaning that you could use the Lock On move every 0.3 seconds, right? It is now being rounded up to the nearest half second. So it's now was 0.3 and it's going to 0.5. So this means it is significantly slower. This is a huge nerf to the Lock On move. And then similarly, moves that are above the 0.5, right? So 0.6 or 0.7, they're being rounded down. So they're going much faster. You can get those moves off much faster. A good example of this is Metal Claw. Goes from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds. So this is getting a huge buff. And the reason this is so weird to me is that it seems random. It doesn't seem like, Niantic is saying, this specific Pokemon or this specific move is a little too strong or a little too weak, so we're going to tweak it. It's just, we're going to just blanket round everything to the nearest half second. And some things are going to get nerfed, some things are going to get buffed, but there's no real rhyme or reason to it. And this is evident in something like Xurkitree. This other Reddit post by Salandro updated Kyogre counters from Pokebattler. This was from 2 days ago, so this was a day after the original post. It shows Xurkitree, I'm just going to use Xurkitree as an example. Xurkitree in the number 3 spot for a counter for Kyogre with Spark and Power Whip. So Power Whip is a grass type move, which is super effective against Kyogre, but it's not same type attack bonus. It's not stab. So the fact that Power Whip would do more damage than an electric type with stab bonus, it just doesn't make sense to me. So there are more examples of this, but in my opinion, these changes feel random. They don't feel like they were thought through. Almost like there was some reason that made the code or the mechanics way easier or way simpler if, we just round everything to the nearest half second. Okay, so let's look a little bit deeper at this post. This post is actually pretty recent, 4 hours ago. Let's give a shout out to the author SPNDR on Reddit, again from Sylph Road Reddit. I need to pay more attention to Sylph Road. I think there's a lot of good information here, and it gets posted here first a lot of the time. And I'm just so glued to the official sources that I'm sometimes a few hours, or in this case, a couple days behind some of the news. But anyways, this person made a chart of the top 5 raid attackers for all the types. And in here, we can see if those Pokemon got buffed or they got nerfed. There's a nice little label here. And if you take a quick glance, just like bird's eye view here, most Pokemon got buffed. Like overall, this is a big buff to all of our Pokemon, meaning raids are much easier right now. So by and large, raids are easier. But if you look in the details, there are some Pokemon that took a big hit, and then there are other Pokemon that are just rose to the top. For example, Dawnwing's Necrozma or Duskmane Necrozma got giant buffs, and they were already good, and now they're even better. So just some of the tuning feels off. Some of the tuning feels like it is not in the spirit of Pokemon. Like it doesn't make sense, right? If you look at some of the main series games, it just doesn't make logical sense. I'm glad raids are easier, I guess. Makes it better for folks who are playing and can't get big groups. So I think that's good. But I would love some explanation as to why these Pokemon are getting nerfed or buffed, and are there any future plans to adjust this tuning to kind of make it make sense? So I think all of the damage calculators out there have kind of adjusted to this new meta in raids. It is specifically only in raids. All of these sources have repeatedly said that like the stats and the master game files remain untouched. It seems like as the Pokemon moves into a raid context, these things get adjusted. So like gym battles are unaffected, for example. I believe rocket battles are also unaffected. It's just raid battles. Okay, so some of the Pokemon you know and loved and powered up and invested might not be number one anymore. Kartana, for example, got a big nerf. And that being said, some of my recent videos are probably out of date already, where I showed, different Pokemon being top counters. Some of them are fine. Like, for example, Kyogre is still sweeping as a primal, as a shadow, as a normal. It's still the best, but Kyogre did get buffed as well. So, all right, let's move on. Let's move on to some of the Dynamax and Max battle mechanics that are coming. We are on the eve of Max Out. We're on the eve of the new season here in the US. And, by the time this video goes live, it'll probably be, 2 a.m. in Europe. So it won't have started yet for them either. I wish I made this video earlier today, but I made a reel this morning, and then I got a run in, did some lawn mowing and some chores and stuff, and the day kind of got away from me. But I'm glad I'm getting a chance to do it now. Better late than never. It's tough to stay ahead of the curve as a content creator. I'm quickly learning. Let's start by taking a look at this Japanese media outlet. Okay, so we're going to look at getnews.jp. I have Google automatically translating this for us. The translation is not going to be perfect, but we can still kind of get the gist here. So the first heading is existing Pokemon cannot Dynamax, which is kind of disappointing to me. In Sword and Shield, any Pokemon can Dynamax. Doesn't matter if you brought them in from home or what. But in Pokemon Go, it seems like maybe it's part of the code, or maybe there's a reason for it, but you have to catch new Pokemon that can Dynamax. So like there's going to be Charmander that can Dynamax, and then Charmander that cannot Dynamax. And it seems like Charmander caught before this update cannot Dynamax. It's not really clear to me if all future Charmander can Dynamax, or maybe it's only Dynamax Pokemon that you catch in the max battles that can Dynamax. Kind of a weird decision there. I'm not sure why, but okay. It is kind of nice to everyone's kind of starting on an even playing field for Dynamax Pokemon. Okay, so it says, even if you play solo, the gameplay will be more enjoyable as you wonder, and again, this is translated, As you wonder, how can I complete this? You could also say it's an added element of challenge. So either way, it seems there'll be more opportunities to experience a sense of accomplishment. So I think what this means is that raid battles will be less about just tap, tap, tap as fast as you can, tap on party power, tap on the charge move, tap, tap, tap. And maybe there'll be some more strategy to it in terms of what moves you're using, or I don't know. It's not clear to me exactly how they're going to work. So either way, I'm excited about this. I think this is a good move. The raid battle mechanics are not super interesting or engaging. So I'm happy to add some more strategy to it. This article also confirms that there will be a new Pokedex specifically for Dynamax Pokemon. I think it also says here that there's a shiny Dynamax Pokedex. So a new shiny dex. That's going to be a lot of effort to complete. Not sure I'll be going for that. But I do like that Pokemon Go is a game you can't really beat. It's infinite, right? I love that about the game. Okay, so there's other information from other Japanese media outlets. I could not find the source, so we're just going to go ahead and look at Leak Duck's post here, because it is well written and they have more information than just the Get News. They did also cite Famitsu here. I tried to Google Famitsu Pokemon Go and came up empty-handed. Granted, I didn't search for too long. But anyways, Leak Duck has very kindly summarized this information for us. This post was from earlier today. So let's take a look here. So max battles begin similarly to raid battles. They cost a new resource called max particles, or MP. And it costs 250 MP to challenge these 1-star Dynamax Kanto starters that we're getting next week. Different tiers may require different, excuse me. Different tiers may require different amounts of MP, but this is not confirmed right now. So I was actually wondering, in one of my earlier videos, is MP going to be used in combination with the raid passes instead of raid passes, or is MP something different entirely? This answers that question. So it looks like we don't use raid passes here. For Dynamax battles, we use MP. Okay, good to know. Moving on. Up to 4 trainers can join a max battle. They can only be joined locally. So no remotes for max battles, which is an interesting choice. They're going to be like shadow raids, local only. The 4 trainer max is also very strange. So during raid hours, for example, me and the local community, we like to do raid trains. We like to get a bunch of people, maybe 10 people, and go from raid to raid to raid and just taking it down so quickly. But here, only 4 trainers can join. So in our raid train scenario, or if you're in like a very populated city, right, you're just going to be joining up with random people. Let's say you have 10 people in a group, a couple cars of people, or maybe a big walking group. You're just going to get put in somewhat randomly in the order that you join. That is not going to be great, probably for, if you're carrying some new players with you on your raid train. Like, maybe you have some brand new Pogo players, new to the game, level 32 or something, right? You want to make sure that 4 of those players are not getting put in at the same time. So there's a little more coordination we're going to have when we join these battles. I'm also curious, how easy is it going to be to farm these raids, like to really go hardcore like I like to do in raid hours. We typically do like 10 to 14 raids during a single raid hour. So is that going to be possible with Dynamax? It kind of seems like no, but we'll have to wait and see. Each trainer brings up to 3 Pokemon, and only Dynamax capable Pokemon can be used. So I think this means that we can't just bring our level 50 Origin Form Dialga into these Dynamax battles. So we're probably going to be starting off with, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Wooloo, Squovit. They're going to be our only options, right? Because they're the only Dynamax Pokemon available. during this launch event. And it says here, actually, to get trainers started, they'll be able to catch Dynamax Pokemon from a special research available at the start of the Go Big event. So we'll get one Dynamax Pokemon from a special research, and I guess we'll have to use that Pokemon to take down other Dynamax battles and kind of build up our Dynamax capable Pokemon roster to be able to take these down easier and, you know, get stronger. So that's interesting. It's almost like a reset. And I kind of actually really like that. If you've ever played other games, maybe like Diablo, for example, there's seasons. And at the beginning of each season, when you start each season, you start from level 1. And that makes for some interesting gameplay, I think. So we'll all kind of be put back on the same playing field in some ways. It's actually, just talking about it right now makes me kind of excited to, you know, get ahead and do as many of these max battles as I can to build up a big Dynamax capable team. Pokemon in max battles will build up a gauge through battle. Once it's full, the Pokemon in battle can Dynamax. In the following image, a Dynamax Blastoise is battling against Dynamax Charmander. At the top of the screen, the following moves are displayed. Max Guard, which is a defense move, reduces damage from the opposing Pokemon. Max Geyser, which is an attack, powerful special attack that depends on typing. In this case, it's water type. Max move, Max Geyser. And then we have Max Spirit Heal. So we can heal in the middle of battle, which is something very new for Pokemon Go. That's actually kind of wild. Very curious if that ever like makes its way into PvP or something. Max moves can be improved with max particles or candy on the Pokemon's info page before battle. Another source mentions using Candy XL. So we're going to be powering up our moves now, not just the Pokemon, but the moves. And it's not clear if it's going to be max particles or Candy XL. I kind of hope it's Candy XL because max particles are like a resource that you buy in the shop. I don't know that I want to be buying particles to power. It's almost like buying candy, right? But I mean, we kind of buy Stardust in a way with star pieces. So I don't know. Interesting. There are unlimited number of max moves that can be used. The Dynamax Pokemon must be defeated before a trainer runs out of max moves. Okay, so we have a limited number of max moves and we have to beat the Pokemon before we run out. So is there a fast attack? Can we just tap the screen? I guess we can, right? Because they charge through battle. I assume that means by fast attacks and not by just time. After a Dynamax Pokemon is defeated, trainers will have the option to place a Pokemon at the power spot. Pokemon placed at power spots will help other trainers in their max battles and earn candy. So I will put a Pokemon in a power spot. If I'm the first person to do that Dynamax raid, then I'm at a disadvantage, which is interesting. I wonder what I get. Is there a reward for placing Pokemon at the power spots? Like why would I do that? Certainly we must be getting something. Maybe that's what it means here by and earn candy, and not earning candy for the other trainers, but earning candy for ourselves. I guess that makes sense. Okay, trainers will see their rewards and have the option to upgrade rewards with Pokecoins for more items and Premier Balls. I don't know about this change, y'all. I don't know about this. If you look at this image, there's an upgrade rewards section here in the user interface with a big button that says exchange Pokecoins for these items. And the items don't look that great. I hope this is just for presentational purposes, but 1 golden Raz, 1 rare candy, 1 potion, and 10 Premier Balls. No, that does not seem worth it at all. I don't even know what to do with all my golden Razes. If you're doing a lot of raids, you're probably in a similar boat. Maybe if it was a rare candy XL, maybe. But again, potions, completely useless. You know, I'm tossing out hundreds of potions, you know, on a regular basis. So we'll have to see about that change. I don't know. It feels a little bit money grabby. I shouldn't really be surprised here, I guess. Let's move on. It's noted that Dynamax Pokemon are further away on the encounter screen than our normal Pokemon, so we'll be spinning and throwing these balls as far as possible. That'll be interesting. Curious how difficult they will be to catch. Max battles take place at power spots. Max battles will appear at random locations on the map on a new point of interest called a power spot. They will not take over existing gyms or Pokestops. So I was wrong about this. I made a video just kind of speculating that power spots would be on a gym or on a Pokestop because those are known locations. Those are known public accessible locations, right? They've gone through some sort of vetting process. Does this mean they're going to be power spots placed in like locations that we can't get to? And how are we going to know that before we get there? Are we going to be seeing them on Campfire, driving 10 minutes to get there only to realize, oh, this is on private property, or it's fenced off, or it's inaccessible or unsafe for some reason? Surely they've thought about this, right? Maybe they have some sort of map that will make sure that these power spots are in safe areas. I'm gonna trust that they know what they're doing here. Maybe that trust is not well placed, but we'll see. It remains to be seen, right? We still have another week. There's a new tab on the nearby menu that will show nearby power spots and max battles. You can check your current MP and collect MP from walking. That's pretty cool. So there's multiple ways to earn MP, walking and by going to power spots. And then we have a frequently asked questions here. Is it possible to evolve Dynamax Pokemon? Yes, we know that. Is it possible to heal using items? No. But yeah, we have Max Spirit. So we can heal using the Max Spirit attack, which is interesting. And we only have a finite number of attacks, right? So you want to use those attacks carefully. You don't want to just heal, right? You need to do damage. Is it possible to collect max particles using Go++? No. Can Dynamax Pokemon encounter be shiny? Yes, we know that. Is it possible to Dynamax a Pokemon previously caught before max battles were introduced? No. How will Dynamax Pokemon be treated in the Pokedex? We'll have a new Pokedex for Dynamax Pokemon. Can I battle in max battles even if I don't have 4 people? Yes. So you can battle with 1, 2, 3, or 4, but not more than 4. I'm curious how easy it will be to solo these max battles. Will having multiple trainers make it easier? I presume yes, but we'll have to see. Is it possible to pay to battle in max battles like with raid passes? Yes, max particles can be purchased in the store. They did announce this already. This next one is kind of disappointing and interesting to me. Will Gigantamax be a feature? Answer, there are no current plans. It is under consideration. It feels very strange. Why would you introduce Dynamax and have no plans for Gigantamax? I am very curious, what the actual translation was there, and like what is the source for that information. And I'd love to talk to a native Japanese speaker to see if that's just something lost in translation or what. How do I get my first Dynamax Pokemon? You can get it from Special Research. We knew that. Will all Dynamax Pokemon be available from the start? One by one, like Shadow Pokemon. So that's pretty cool. Do Dynamax Pokemon have IVs? Now this is interesting. Yes, they do. Can Dynamax Pokemon be used outside of max battles? Also an interesting question. They can be used in raid battles and in Team Go Rocket battles. However, they will not be able to Dynamax. They can learn fast and charged attacks in the same way as normal Pokemon. So we catch these Dynamax Pokemon, but we can't bring them into legendary raids and Dynamax them and like get that benefit and get that HP benefit from Dynamaxing, or use the max moves or heal, it seems like. So legendary raids, and 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, whatever, they're staying the same. We can bring our Dynamax Pokemon in, but it seems like they're not going to be any different than the non-Dynamax capable Pokemon. So Dynamax battles are going to be in their own little bubble. This is not all bad. They probably will release rare legendary Pokemon through Dynamax battles, through max battles first. I think it's possible, for example, that we get, I don't know, maybe Eternatus, right? Maybe Eternatus is a max battle, and that's the only way to get Eternatus. But once you do catch it, you can then bring it into your other legendary raids. So that's cool. But I still wish we could, like Mega Pokemon, I still wish we could Dynamax 1 or something and bring it into our legendary raids and get a little bit of extra bonus in our legendary raids. I think that just about covers it. So I'm curious to know what you think about this type of video. Is this useful to you? Is this enjoyable content? Should I do more of these? Or do you prefer the more edited style, concise style? Like I said, it's tough to keep up with all the information, so it's nice to be able to just brain dump. And maybe I'll keep doing these videos even if they don't get as many views. Even if the response isn't as overwhelmingly positive, just because it helps me. It's kind of like helps me to organize my thoughts and just kind of talk through stuff. And why not do that in a way that other people can come along for the ride? Maybe put my video on in the background while I do something else, because it's not as engaging as some of the more produced videos. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm super excited for the next season. Let's see, it's 8 p.m. here now. We've been talking for a while. We'll see how the edit goes here, but that means we are 14 hours away from the launch of the new season. I do have work tomorrow, so I won't be able to get out there right at 10 a.m., but I will be playing tomorrow. I plan to live stream after work later on, Wooloo Spotlight Hour. I'm going to live stream for that, both on YouTube and on Twitch, and we'll be grind catching the new Galar starters and Dreepy and Wooloo and Squovit and shiny hunting, and not doing Dynamax battles because they won't be out yet. Either way, I'm super excited for tomorrow. Good luck out there, everyone. I hope you get a shiny Wooloo. I hope you get a hundo. And if you do, hop in the DittoBase Discord, discord.gg/DittoBase. Take a screenshot. I'd love to see it. That's all for me. Good night. Thank you for watching this video. Time is the most precious resource we have, and you spent the last few minutes with me, and I appreciate that. If you like this video, be sure to check out one of these other videos. I'm sure you'll like them. If you want to give me some support, I am at DittoBase on socials, and you can also check out my website that I'm building, dittobase.com, for Pokemon news, guides, tools, and a database. Thanks for watching.